Thank you for joining us today. For those who don't know me, I'm Darlene McLennan, and I'm the manager of the Australian Disability Clearinghouse on Education and Training, ADCET for short. We are live captioning today's webinar. If you haven't accessed our webinars before and haven't accessed captions before, you can access those through the CC button in the toolbar, which is located either at the top or bottom of your screen. We also have the captions available via our browser, and we'll just pop that into the chat box now to be able to access that. I'm currently in Brisbane, beautiful Brisbane. It's lovely and sunny today, which is unusual. It's not raining. For those who know me, I am from Tasmania, and so it's unusual to be in sunny. I think it was 26 this morning at 9 o'clock. But my colleagues are telling me it's very cold in Tasmania. But the fact that I'm on Brisbane, I just want to acknowledge that the traditional owners of the land on which I am today, the Turrbal people and the Yangara people. I would like to also acknowledge and pay respects to elders past and present, and those who have passed before us, and to members of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander communities who are present with us today. Today we hear from Ben Dyer from TextHelp on Equatio. This powerful tool works to make digital math simpler. And as stated in the bio that we've shared with everybody, Ben has a passion for empowering people to achieve their goals through education, which aligns strongly with ADCET's goals, as our passion is, and it's kind of why we do what we do. So it's wonderful to have Ben join us today. Before I throw over to Ben, I just want to do a few other housekeeping things. As I said at the beginning, we're captioning this and Bradley Reporting are doing this, which is wonderful, and Jason's joining us today and doing that for us. This webinar is being recorded and the recording will be on ADCET in the next couple of days. Ben will also be sharing some links and we'll also be posting some links in the chat. We'll also add those links to our website under the recording as well. If you have any technical difficulties throughout the webinar, you can actually contact us at admin@adcet.edu.au. Ben will talk for around 45 to 50 minutes and then we will throw open for questions. We encourage people to chat throughout the presentation to each other. So go into the chat box, press chat to everybody and we can all chat. But if you have a question for Ben, please use the Q&A box and that's where we will manage the questions. We do have the up button so you can actually press the like button, which will then put the best question up to the top. So that enables me to ask the most popular question of Ben up first. So yeah, just by popular vote, I'll be able to ask the first question. We're also live tweeting today, which is something that we're starting to do a little bit more of. So if anybody's on Twitter, please join along in the conversation. So our social media person, Justin, is about to put into the chat our two hashtags we'll be using, which is Equatio and also AusEdChat. So you can grab those from the chat and join us on Twitter. Okay, I think I've covered everything. So sit back, enjoy listening to Ben, and I'll come back in and wrap the session up and ask your questions at the end of the session. Thank you, Ben.
Thanks very much, Darlene. And thank you very much, everybody, for joining us today as we look at the session, which is creating and collaborating with digital math and STEM tools. And that tool is Equatio. So my name is Ben and I am Customer Success Lead here at TextHelp, also coming to you from sunny Brisbane today. And you can find my Twitter handle and email me after the session if you've got any specific questions we don't have time to cover today. So just grab this by taking a picture with your smartphone or a screenshot, b.dyer@texthelp.com. Excellent. So we will be chatting these through into the chat box as well. So don't worry, we'll also put them in after the session if you don't have time to grab them. But please do check out the extra resources. The top bit.ly link will take you to a shared Google folder. Anyone can access it. That's where you're going to be able to find a whole bunch of extra resources, links out to our YouTube channel, and a lot of extra resources to help you to go further and dive deeper into Equatio. And just be aware that the I and O is in capital letters. It throws some people sometimes. The bottom link at Wakelet is a fantastic resource. There'll be a whole plethora of extra PD videos, getting started videos to go through everything that we cover today and much, much more. So what are some of the barriers to math? Well, my two children are currently in high school, and I can remember my days at high school and beyond at math as well. And so far as I can see, in that time, a few decades have actually passed, a few more grey hairs, but math hasn't actually changed. There's still quite a apparent lack of collaboration, depending on the way classroom structures are set up. And, you know, worksheets, it still tends to be very, very analog, although slowly but surely that is changing. So not only from an accessibility perspective, but also from a critical thinking, manipulation, collaboration perspective, you know, analog worksheets do not lend themselves well to those things. So I think a lot of people now, for a variety of different reasons, recognize the need for a change, but how do we do that? And why should we? Well, we know that students with persistent math problems as early as primary school are less likely to both graduate from high school, but also to attend further and higher education. So there's a problem. Also, as early as the junior years of high school, we know that whether students you know, have a good experience with math and STEM, it does directly influence whether they're likely to pursue careers in STEM. And the biggest issue there, of course, is that we have a massive need and a growth for teachers, for mathematical and STEM jobs, and also computer occupations as well. So we really do need to build a large STEM workforce. So, you know, there have been some technological advancements in math. There you can see an abacus. Now, you know, when I was at school, and this is still the same. In fact, my two kids used the same calculator I used when I was at school as well. We know there are, you know, some calculators and other tools to help us out. But still, you know, this might be typical pen and paper, and we know pen and paper works for a lot of learners, but it may not work for all learners. In fact, it could be a barrier for certain learners with low visibility, limited motor skills, or other identified barriers to learning. So, okay, let's take it digital. And traditionally, or up until now, the requirements and the cognitive load required, the expertise to use something like what you're seeing on the screen with Word is in and of itself also a barrier. To be honest, I do not know how to do this, to input math. So clunky, difficult, high cognitive load, barriers to access for a lot of people. But not anymore. So what we decided to do was to create a new toolbar, very similar to, I know a lot of people joining today also joined the Read and Write and Orbit Note session we did recently. So same thing, but this time not a toolbar to support us with literacy, reading, writing, and comprehension, but the same thing to digitize and collaborate and make math digital. So not only allowing us to have a searchable database of thousands of mathematical equations, but also physics formulas and chemistry compounds, all of that enabling you to make math and STEM accessible and multiple ways to actually input math and make it digital as well. So very, very accessible, but crucially, how about ramping up that engagement and critical thinking for all of our learners? So that's Equatio. If you just take one thing away from the session, it's a toolbar that's going to hover down the bottom. So you can actually use it in conjunction. Remember, Read and Write hovers at the top of our digital platform that we're working on, with various tools to help us collaborate, make digital math and STEM spaces, and multiple ways to input and create math not only typing. Very, very crucial from an accessibility perspective. Today, we're going to be switching it up. Last time we looked at Equatio on the Windows desktop. So I thought this time, why don't I show you on a different platform? So today I'm operating from a MacBook and I'm using Equatio for Google. So we're in Google environment, but it's exactly the same thing if we were operating in Equatio for Office 365, Equatio for desktop on a Mac, or a Windows machine. And we also have a couple of other unique spaces, a math space to create some environments. I'll show you that. And of course, we also integrate with pretty much all of the major learner management systems that you may be using at your institution, including Canvas, Brightspace, DTL, Schoology, Moodle. I actually can't keep up with all of them because we keep adding more, but let us know if you have a particular learner management system. It's a good chance we already integrate seamlessly with it. So again, whatever platform or device you are on, we have a version to help you. And unlike read and write, the great thing is, and I'll show you this later on, you can also capture and digitize math using your mobile device, because we know that is the one tool that all learners, particularly in further and higher education, tend to have on them all the time, which is absolutely fantastic. So wherever you are and whatever you're doing, you'll be able to capture and digitize math and STEM. Fantastic. So as we're kind of taking a look at this, we'll be sharing some more resources to dig into later on, including short videos of all of the things I'm going to show you and more today. So don't worry if I'm kind of skipping along very quickly. As we're going through though, I'd like you to consider these 3 points. So why should we use technology in any instruction, but particularly for the purposes of today, math and STEM? Well, we want to make sure we're engaging students. Engaged students, students who are collaborating, are motivated students. And remember, we go back to critically motivating students as early as we can, because we want to build, there is a global need for a STEM workforce, and very much that is the case in Australia as well. We also want to make sure that we're not leaving anyone out. We want to make sure students have multiple ways to represent or demonstrate their understanding of competency in math and STEM. And of course, we also, it's any chance we get, we want to make use of technology as an enabler to really ramp up that teacher-student feedback loop. So that's enough talking from me. Let's take a look at what Equatio looks like in a whole bunch of different formats. Today, we're looking at Google, but I could equally be in 365 on Windows desktop, Mac. It doesn't matter, whatever device you have, including, as you can see, our our mobile devices. We can use those to capture input for digitized math, and we don't necessarily have to have computer literacy or be able to type, because we know that is actually in and of itself a barrier for many learners. Okay, so I want to show you as many kind of different environments where you might come across math, or you may be using math or STEM. So number one, in the Google environment, from our Google Analytics, we have almost, I think, or I didn't check it today, but it grows every day. We have almost 10 million users globally of the Equatio tool. The number one place that learners go is to Google Forms. And obviously the teacher or the instructor or lecturer will be creating the Google Forms. If you haven't played around with Google Forms or the Microsoft equivalent, it's a fantastic way for you to quickly take the temperature of your class, and you also get some really nice analytics on, you know, where students are struggling or where they're doing well. So it's a great resource to kind of get up to speed on, and it works seamlessly with Equatio. So anywhere you see this little Equatio icon here, the blue one, I can click on that and look at what it's done. It's actually pulled up some math I was already working on earlier. But the first tool is our Equatio editor. And I can type in any math or STEM, or it'll search through a database, but I could also type in my name. And look at it's already trying to find equations. So my name, and then I could simply insert that math, and put my name in as well. It's not really math. The next one, we're getting into some quadratic formulas here. You can see I've already put an answer in there. If I want to change my answer, I could clear the math using the click, or I can edit the math at any time by clicking on edit math. I hope that's okay. I didn't actually solve that one. You will ascertain through the course of today's session that I'm actually not very bright at math. So please forgive me if you are very good at math and I'm making some math mistakes. It's important to recognize that Equatio is a tool to help you to demonstrate competency and to digitize math in a bunch of different formats. It won't actually solve equations and do math for you though, which is really, really great because it also means that you can use it in exam situations. It will not advantage you to solve math and STEM, but it will help with collaboration, creativity, motivation, and different ways to demonstrate competency. So as simple as that, we type in our answer, insert the math, and bang, very, very easy and simple for us to complete Google Forms. And again, I can click on, oh, it's already added that in. Just add in my answers and they will appear like magic. So what about if we want to use a graph? Then what I can do, oh, sorry, I've gone to the wrong thing, is capture my math. And then you'll notice, oh, sorry, you'll notice, just put the toolbar back down there. I have, sorry, I'm just going to minimize my toolbar. Down here, just bear with me for a moment as I open up my toolbar. I'm having a little bit of trouble as my Mac toolbar has popped up over the top of my hiding my toolbar. So just bear with me for a moment while it hopefully disappears in a moment. You'll see the third toolbar that I'm currently not able to, just bear with me here. No, sorry everyone. I'm just I've just had my Mac toolbar pop over the top of my second screen here, and it's gone. Perfect. So sorry about that. You'll see there's a graphing tool here, this third one. So what I can also do is add in graphs. I'll make this a little bit bigger to see. So not only can I insert math and STEM, I can search for graphs and that will create my graph for me. I can zoom in and out, and I can even insert graphs into my Google form. Oh, although I've put it into the wrong one, but you get the idea. So really, really handy. Now let's jump back into a Google document. And what I can actually do in the Google version, I put an extension into my from the Chrome Web Store, and I can pin that. And then if I'm operating in any G Suite product, we were just looking at forms, but it could be a document as well. I can actually link this in, and everything I'm doing, of course, because it's in the cloud in Google Drive, it will save it all in there for me, which is really, really handy. So if I've got to go to the bus or my part-time job, or I forgot my charger and my computer runs out of power, all of the things that I'm doing will be solved. So that's also another major benefit. So again, I've got my graph editor here. I'm just going to jump back and show you a little bit of housekeeping. So when I open up the toolbar, it'll pop under any digital document that I'm working on, just to make sure that it works really well. It's good practice to go into options and math options. Of course, here for certain students, the default will be font size at regular, but if you are a low vision student, you may want to make that font a little bit bigger and it's easier to see. You can also change the navigation bar, not only from American and British English, but also a couple of other languages. French, Spanish and Italian are supported at this given time. And it's good to just double check the default will to have math equations, but also chemistry compounds and physics formulas all turned on, and just go ahead and hit save or close. What that means is when we go into the equation editor, we could type in something simple like y equals 3x minus 2, something like that. And we can put that into our document. That'll actually add in an editable image instantly into our Google Doc, but it could be slides, forms, whatever the case may be. But we also have a searchable database just by starting to type in that particular equation. So we could be looking for other things like chemistry compounds. Let's try chloric acid, and I can simply find that and insert this in. So it's not just for math, this is the point. But we could also find some physics formulas. What about gravitational field strength? And then we can search just by starting to type for whatever equation, chemistry compound or physics formula we're looking for. And a database of thousands of them will pop up, and we can easily manipulate those and then add them into whatever environment we would like to. So much, much easier and much more accessible, not only for you as a lecturer or a teacher or tutor, but also for students themselves. And you, of course, when we're operating on 365 or Google Drive, we can set up sharing patterns and collaborate on documents easily, either by sharing the document with specific people or using our learner management system across a whole grade or cohort or year, which is really, really fantastic, or a course. So that's our equation editor, which is really, really cool. There's also a LaTeX translation tool, I guess. Some people will be familiar with LaTeX. Low vision students tend to be fluent in LaTeX. It's a typesetting language, I guess, for math that low vision students especially tend to be fluent in LaTeX. Also, of course, mathematicians, statisticians, and so on will use LaTeX. But if you're not familiar with LaTeX and you don't know how to type in LaTeX, of course, you could type in on the left-hand side. You could just type in your math on the right-hand side and see what's happening. In LaTeX, it's going to translate it for you. It's probably not a great example because it's almost identical, but you get the idea. So then I can easily translate either from LaTeX or from math as well, and then simply edit it. At any time, you can re-edit any of the things that you're putting in as well, which is really, really cool. Now, as you start to use the Equatio toolbar, you'll notice this little cap comes up, and then what it will do as you start to use it is predict, are you trying to make math or copy math as? What you can do is click on that at any time, and it'll keep popping up with various little hints and tips. And this will show you, hey, here's something else you can do with the LaTeX editor. Select it, copy math as, and here's a short video to show you how to do that. So that's a really nice inbuilt tutorial tool to help you. And we have hundreds of those little hints and tips videos as we're going through, which is really, really nice. We briefly looked at the graph editor tool. You'll notice that it says it's powered by Desmos. And as you may know, Desmos is the most advanced graphing digital tool that's available. And so we utilize and integrate with that Desmos technology, not only for graphing, but also with a scientific calculator that I'll show you later on. And play around with the graphing tool. I was particularly bad at graphing, and I wish I had the graphing tool to help me as well. I think in the notes, but let me know if I don't have it on our YouTube channel. We can also turn audio on. So students with low vision or blind students can listen to the sound of the wave of the graph as well. So there's a lot of inbuilt accessibility tools to help various learners into the Equatio toolbar, which is obviously very, very good. So play around with the graphing tool. I like to show students sign, but you guys will have a lot of things that you'd like to show. That's the graphing tool, and that's how easy it is to create and manipulate graphs. So remember I said from a collaboration perspective, but also from an accessibility perspective, we want to make students can input math or capture math with the device they have, wherever they are. But we also want to ensure that we are not leaving any learners behind. We don't want to rely on only being able to type, for example, because some students cannot do that for various reasons. So we can also make use of a touch screen device or a tablet, such as an iPad or Android device, or of course, our smartphone, and we can actually handwrite math in as well. So watch what happens to our math tab on the right-hand side. Today, of course, I'm on my computer, so I'm using my mouse, but I could just as easily be on a mobile device or a touch screen. And as I'm typing, that is very accurately and quickly going to transpose that into digital math for me, which again, I can input in. And if I make a mistake, I can just scrub it out with my finger. And usually that works, although it doesn't like it today. Yep, there we go. And I can even edit it just completely by using touch instead of typing. So, and you can see how it says it changes. Are you trying to insert handwriting with Equatio with your mobile phone? Click on here and watch a short 1 to 2 minute video, and we'll show you how to do that in an example. So it's really, really cool. You can't break it. It's not going to delete any of your files. I really encourage you to download it. All educators, you just use your school or university or TAFE email address, your school or institution email address. You can actually get a free unlimited version of both Read and Write and Equatio. So go ahead and grab it and check it out and play around with it. And as you start to use it, you'll glean hints and tips as you go forward. So that's really, really handy. Of course, apart from handwriting, apart from actually typing in the math, some students may prefer to use their voice. So we have a speech input tool as well. And what I can do, that would disappear, is click on the record button and simply also digitize math or input or create math using my voice. 3x cubed minus 2y equals 7. And we almost got it. It put a times in there, but that's okay. I can edit that. You get the idea. So very, very accurately, I have multiple ways to digitize an input or demonstrate competency, which is very, very critical from an accessibility point of view. But also it gives students a lot of personalization and agency or choice and voice and autonomy in terms of how they would like to go about digitizing math and STEM. So it's really, really handy to have that. I'm going to show you an example of Equatio Mobile later. Essentially, what I could do is link my mobile phone, either using the QR code or by going to m.equate.io. You just have to use the native browser though. So if you're on an Android device, you would use Google Chrome. If you're on an iPhone like me, you have to use the Safari, the native browser. That trips people up sometimes. Once you've done that though, you could connect into the document, and then I can actually take pictures of math. I've seen people using, taking clever math on people's shirts at math conferences. My daughter is in grade 8. She's used it to capture math from a workbook or a website from Khan Academy mostly, or from her friend's workbook if she has been sick and was left behind. So there's a lot of different ways that you could use Equatio Mobile not only input math, but to capture math on any environment and digitize it very, very quickly. So we'll take a brief look at what that looks like a little bit later on, which is really, really cool. We've also got a collaborative space that you can go to that we've created called MathSpace. So if I click on MathSpace, what I can do is open up a new page, kind of like a math specific Google document that's saved into the cloud that we have created at TextHelp. I can share it. And here I can do awesome stuff. I can add in squiggly lines and type. I've also got, of course, a whole bunch of different shapes that I might want to add in. So I need to be able to spell correctly though. And then I can simply add in things like pulleys. I've also got some smart shapes here. So I can do things like clocks and protractors and fraction bars. So what I can do here is create digital manipulative math spaces, and then I can collaborate on them with a group of peers, with students. I can pair stronger students with weaker students. There's just unlimited, limitless potential with the math space. So I'm just giving you a few examples of things you might want to create in your math space. Definitely play around with this one. Also, here's one I've created earlier. So this is one specific to chemistry, and you can see I've added in a text box, and away we go. My explanation of stoichiometry, and I'm butchering that name, but you get the idea. So, and we literally have hundreds of these example math spaces at all levels. If you would like to kind of have a feel around for, well, what kind of things can I do with MathSpace? Again, you can also capture with your mobile phone prints or worksheets or worked examples that you have, as long as they're reasonably legible and spaced out, and that then you could actually create a MathSpace just by capturing it with your mobile device as well. So now hopefully you're starting to see there's a whole bunch of really, really cool stuff that you can do to digitize math and STEM, not only on existing documents like forms, slides, documents, whatever digital environment you're in, but you can also create from scratch or take pictures of worked math examples or whatever the case may be, posters, and digitize that and create ready-made math spaces very quickly and easily. And then, of course, what I can do is up in the top right-hand corner, click on share. Then I can make a copy for each person, or I can make a copy for each person and I can expect a response. And that's how we really improve that collaboration, but also improve that student-teacher feedback loop. So if I make it for each student, then I will get a link. I can copy that and email it, or if I integrate with Google Classroom or another LMS, pop it on there, and then students can go in, see this math space, answer it if there's things to answer, and I'll get a notification that students have completed it and go in for marking. So really, really much more collaborative and much easier thinking about how we might go about that in an analog format, which is very time consuming and you know, hard to track. So a couple of tools to think about to expedite processes and really improve that student feedback, but also for you guys to be able to more quickly ascertain problem areas to review, inform content or curriculum design or redesign. There's a whole bunch of really great process expedition there, which is really great. Excellent. So what about PDFs? I hear people asking, PDFs, I've heard them described as pretty difficult format, but hopefully with the addition of our brand new PDF annotation tool called OrbitNote, and those of you who joined our read and write session saw OrbitNote a little bit. It's got all of the tools that we know and love. So, you know, wherever it's accessible, this is an inaccessible one, so I can't use the play button, but I could use my screenshot tool, and it doesn't want to work today. Yep, it's just taking a while to load. I can do things like capture any written work, and my students, not sure if you guys can hear that. Find the acceleration of the 3 kilogram mass and the tension. So, of course, we know for students who are struggling with literacy, it's not limited to humanities subjects and English. Often, and this is a conversation for another day. In this case, where we have difficult technical math terminology, or maybe we have something that's just a straight question like this: are we actually testing mathematical capability, or are we testing, is it a literacy question, or is it both? So as you can see, you can integrate and use Orbit Note as the accessibility tools. And if you're familiar with Read and Write and Orbit Note, you'll probably recognize and know and love some or all of these tools. But on a PDF, with the power, integrating with the power of Orbit Note, not only do I have all those great accessibility tools from a literacy or comprehension perspective, I can also pull up both the Orbit Note toolbar, have my annotation tools. So, drawing things like lines of symmetry. Oh, that's the wrong tool. This one. And doing things like this, and annotate those directly into any PDF. And of course, they're saved. I can even use this seamlessly with pretty much all the major learner management systems as well. But I can use my Equatio editor as well to add in the answers and directly annotate on top of my PDF as well. So and so on. Luckily, it's not a math quiz, but you get the idea. Oh, sorry, I've still got this drawing tool on, so I'll just get rid of that. And then I can manipulate my math and add it into my PDFs as well. And then share that on my learner management system, make a copy again for each student, and effectively make a digital version of what traditionally we would do analog. But of course, I can track who's opened it, what they did, see their answers, add in comments directly onto a PDF or any digital environment, and really personalize and improve that student teacher feedback loop. And likewise, students can ask questions, highlight things they're not sure of, indicate to me as a tutor or lecturer that they need more support, or we need to set up some time in office hours to revise concepts that students are not grasping. So absolutely fantastic tool. And hopefully now you can see, even on PDFs, traditionally difficult, now becomes a delightful format. Finally, I kind of want to show you what happens on websites. So when we're on websites, notice how my toolbar has kind of changed a little bit. What it's done, if you look closely anywhere, I'm looking at Euler's formula, a fantastic formula. See how it's put a little box around anything that is math. So as I scroll down, see how it's found all of these wonderful mathematical equations and formulas. And what it'll do is put a box around them. So anytime I'm browsing the internet, it could be Edge, could be Chrome, I can find out what it is, but I can also capture the math just by clicking on it. And hopefully you guys can hear it. So it's first and foremost a screen reader. So just like Read and Write to read content out to us on any website, Equatio will do the same thing, but it will do that for any mathematical, STEM, physics formula. Anywhere we've got math or STEM, we can now have a screen reader. And we can fully customize this toolbar as well if we're in an exam situation. So we can provide a great tool from an accessibility perspective to make sure that we're providing equity and giving everyone an equal opportunity. So this is an absolute game changer for certain students. I can have all of my math anywhere I find it read out to me. And if I click on the three little dots, I can copy that into LaTeX. So that's particularly used with low vision students, also mathematicians, MathML, or I can pop it into my equation editor, copy it, and then transpose it over into, whatever other document or format that I'm working on. And hey presto, it's there, digitized. So much faster, significantly reducing the cognitive load. And I can even have all of it read out to me as well. And I can input the math using my voice or by using my touchscreen device or mobile phone or mobile device as well. So really, really handy. Excellent. So I believe these are going to go into the chat, and please do let me know if you've got any questions. I'm sure there might be a few coming on. It's worthwhile joining our Future Building in Education event, particularly for everyone on the call today, because we will be having a roundtable discussion on leveling the playing field and creating equity in math and STEM. With some special guests from AAMT as well. So please do sign up for that event. There'll be a link shared with you in the chat, and also I believe afterwards. Another one to check out to look at Equatio is to go to our YouTube channel at YouTube Text Help and subscribe, of course, so you never miss any of the wonderful content that we come out with. But there'll be a whole bunch of extra sessions on introducing Equatio, demos of everything I've showed you today and more, various platform integrations for various different LMSs that are used commonly in further and higher educational institutions, some user stories, and then a whole bunch of other PD stuff to dig deeper into. Of course, on our website, there's also a whole bunch of great resources, podcasts, how-to videos, blogs, downloadable guides on our Teaching Math Online website. And we'll share all of these resources with you as well. Okay. So finally, I think we're nearly up to question time. I just want to show you Equatio Mobile, because I know I promised to and we skipped over it. So using your phone or tablet, we know pretty much all students have a mobile device and they've got it with them 24/7. What they can do is upload math directly into a document, computer, or into a Chromebook. So they can easily make digital math using touch devices that we know they all have, but they can also create math using handwriting, speech, or simply by taking a photo of reasonably legible handwritten math as well. As I said, my daughter uses this. She's pretty accelerated at math. So whenever she misses a math class, it's a disaster, and she will actually go and use Equatio Mobile to quickly bring her up to speed with anything she's missed very diligently, and much easier than trying to get a hold of one of her peers' books and capture it. So simply I open up my phone, I can capture it by QR code or by going to Equate.mobile. Here you can see I'm scanning the QR code. Then I can either create a new math space or I can link it to an existing document that I've already got. And that could be a Forms or a Google Doc or Word document, depending on the environment I'm in. I just use my camera. And here, for example, I might be capturing some handwritten math. Click on Save as Math, and then watch what happens to my linked document. It takes a few seconds, but bang, I've just digitized all of that math. Even it might be a whole math sheet. So from a lecturer's perspective, if you've got analog sheets, you can digitize that. Students can do that if they've got worked examples from wherever they have them, wherever they've been working on them. And the beauty of it, of course, is you never lose any of your worked examples or math again. It's all saved into a cloud environment, which is not dependent on a device, and you can access it across multiple devices, which is really handy. There were a few more things I wanted to show you, but I think we're almost out of time. So I will let you look through the rest of the slides, and we've got
Ben, it's Darlene. We've got a little bit of time. We've got another 5 minutes if you want.
Okay, I'll
Yeah.
just quickly mention a few more things, Darlene. Thank you. Just very, very recently, I don't know if you're aware of the BET Awards. Recognizing technological innovations that help learners all around the world and teachers with technology and education. And we were very honored to be awarded the secondary digital learning product at BET 2022 just a few days ago. So yeah, very proud moment for us. As I said, our flagship product, Read and Write, has about 36 million users, although it's just growing every day. Same thing with Equatio. Very, very soon, we're going to crack the 10 million user mark right across the world. So be rest assured that loads and loads of teachers and students, lecturers are using the tool, and we are starting to get some recognition and awards, which is really, really cool. So just to kind of recap, the benefits of Equatio: a user can independently edit and solve math, although it does not give them an advantage from an exam perspective. And I know a lot of lecturers are worried about that. It simply helps you to digitize and collaborate on math and give you multiple means to demonstrate competency. As we saw on any website or actually any digital environment, including a PDF, we can now use a screen reader to read the equation and sequence through it character by character. So that's a very, very strong benefit for math and STEM. It's also searchable by users. The math can be found inside documents. It can be created in a same format. And of course, AI has access to math, which enables a plethora of different ways that students can use it to learn. So some very, very strong benefits with using Equatio. Don't just take it from me. We have a whole bunch of case studies. And I like Dan. He says discovering Equatio was a real turning point for me and my students. So we can all learn math in a fully digital and inclusive way. Excellent. So that kind of brings me to the end. The final slides are kind of just a recap and a shout out to some of the other resources that I've briefly talked you through. So let's wrap it up there for today. And let's see if we've got any questions from anybody on the webinar.
Right. Thanks, Ben, for that. That's brilliant, fantastic. One of the couple of questions that have been asked around for our students who may be blind and are screen reader users, and just how this tool actually can actually be used, or can it be used for screen readers? Yeah,
it definitely can. So we've actually have a couple of advocates who are blind, who have kind of gone through and given us some very detailed feedback using JAWS, and I forget the name of the other screen reader, but a couple of different options, 100% compatible with screen readers. So yeah, great question. Of course, it's not foolproof, and we have got quite a bit of detailed feedback on certain things that we could do to improve the toolbar even further. And I'm pleased to report that all of that has been fed back into our product manager and developer team, and it's on our roadmap for future updates of the product. But yes, it definitely can be used with screen readers, and it does work in most cases.
That's great.
Seamlessly. Good. Yeah, great question.
I was a bit worried about that, so it's wonderful. So another question was, what about maths such as differential equations? How does it work with that? And sorry if you did kind of cover off that.
Yep. So the toolbar has, and I'm sorry, I'm not a very mathematical person, so I could be misinterpreting the question, but my understanding is there's thousands of searchable database of just about any equation, or also chemistry compounds. I forgot to show you, but there's also a chemistry section, so maybe we can very quickly look at that in the STEM tools. So there's
why are you going to that? If anybody does have any more questions, please throw them into the Q&A. We'll probably have We've got one more question to ask after this, and then we'll probably have another opportunity to ask another question.
So we can search for even molecular compounds and bring them up. And in the equation editor, we can put in any equation using our voice or typing it in, or in a lot of cases, if we just start typing, that equation will come up, also physics formulas. So all of those things that if they're common, then there's literally thousands of them preloaded in. We don't have to know that or remember it or go to a website. We can just start typing in the first few letters and bang, it will pop up. But if you have a very specific question, let me know. I won't know the answer, but I can pass it on to our experts who will. We do have a few math teaching background people who work on the Equatio team. So whatever kind of question you have, they'll definitely be able to point you in the right direction. As we've all learned today, my math capability is stalled at high school many years ago. Great question.
Ditto. And engineering and chemistry and maths and yes. A question around engineering. So a person has posed, so if you're a student in a lecture, taking notes on engineering, how have students, or what feedback have you received from students about using Equatio during those lectures? Like with the speed of taking their notes and then adding the formulas and using Equatio, like what's the feedback from students? Does it work kind of in that real-time situation? Yeah,
well, so as you can see, depending on the complexity, it may actually be quicker, especially if you're trying to switch between adding in things like graphs, complex mathematical equations or formulas, even simple stuff. I only have to start typing the first couple of sentences and it brings it up, and I can quickly manipulate to reflect what the lecturer is showing me. Or, of course, if I'm struggling with typing, if I'm not computer literate, I could, of course, be taking what all the students have been doing for decades, is writing it down, or I could be utilizing my mobile phone to just simply capture key points, and that will automatically digitize them and add them into a document that I can review later on. So yeah, I would say that the combination of today's technology with the devices the students have actually greatly improves that process to capture any handouts that are given. I could digitize it all and add it into that lecturer's document. It's auto saved into the cloud, so I'm never going to lose it. Even if I forgot my charger and all my devices run out of power, very common issue. And it's not, my book's not going to get wet, lost, displaced, or damaged. It'll sit and I can log into it on any number of devices or shared devices on campus or off campus, even when I'm on holidays. So yeah, it's probably that combination of analog and digital. Wherever we are, whatever we're trying to do, that's going to be a real game changer particularly for the students themselves, because they're digital natives. So they'll actually be the one to show you how to expedite processes and make the use of blended technology.
excellent.
But certainly a lot of case studies, a lot of people we can introduce you to that will be able to give you more examples of how specifically they're using it or how students are using it beyond kind of the basics of what I've shown you today.
Okay. Just another question. Someone was a bit late to the presentation and just asked, I may have missed it, but can you screen clip an equation during an online class using Zoom or Teams?
So yeah, if we're on Zoom right now, so you could be watching Zoom. Obviously, I can't. I'm sharing my screen, but wherever I am, if we're going through a Google Slides document, for example, or if I'm on a website, you would be able to bring up the Equatio toolbar and use the screenshot reader. I've got discoverability turned on, so it's already highlighted, and I can capture any math in any digital environment quickly and easily, wherever we are.
Teams. Yep, brilliant. Excellent.
Yep.
Okay, and just one last question is how do you access the free version?
Okay, So we'll put this into the chat for you as well. But if you go to our website, texthelp.com, that will load up our web page. It always opens in the US, which is frustrating. Change it to Australia. If you're in New Zealand or Asia Pacific, by the way, change it to Australia. That means Asia Pacific. We're in education, so go to products and then education. And you can do this for both Read and Write and Equatio, but for today's purposes, let's go to Equatio. You can get a version by just simply downloading the version that you're on for your device. But if you scroll down a little bit more, you can see Equatio is free for educators. So as long as you have an institution email address, it can't be a Gmail or a Hotmail or something. If you have a university, TAFE, Polytechnic, it's got to be tied to an institution. That is proof to us that you are a teacher and you're eligible for a free unlimited access forever. So click on Get Your Free Account. Tell us if you want which product, or I would suggest, why don't you try them both out? Click on Equatio, and then depending on where you're at, you can just type in your details, or you can get a Equatio trial, or if you click on arrange a pilot, we can also set up a pilot for the whole institute, or for your faculty or school for up to 90 days with full support, training, everything from us for you to evaluate completely free of charge. But either fill out the form, don't worry too much about primary and secondary, or if you want to get a pilot and you love it after today's session and you want to set that up, let us know. That'll go through to our sales team and we'll be in touch.
Brilliant. That's fabulous. Thank you so much, Ben. That was fabulous to hear all about that, and so good to see someone that has struggled with maths as much as I do, but this toolbar and what it can achieve for the students is absolutely mind-boggling. So fantastic to have shared that with us. We're going to put a survey into the chat, so if people have a couple of minutes to fill that in after the presentation, that would be brilliant. Otherwise, we'll be sending it in an email. We really value your feedback. It's really important for us, for our data and for continuation of funding, that we receive feedback, and also to provide that to our presenters. Our next webinar is on the 14th of April. We haven't got it up on our website yet, but it's Talk Type, which is making learning more accessible with assistive tech. How can dictation software make learning more accessible for you, which is for the Mac environment. So more details will be provided to everybody on our website very soon. And also we're going to put a link into our newsletter. If you haven't signed up to AdSet's newsletter, please do. It's a great way to keep up to date with our what's coming up, our new content, and as well as our webinar. So once again, I just want to thank Ben. A couple of people have left and said thank you because they've had to run off to other things. But yeah, on behalf of all of us here today, I really want to thank you for your time. It was great to hear about Equatio and become more familiar with the tool. And I'm sure you'll be hearing from many people that have joined us today about getting the tool and working with it if they haven't already done so. So have a great day, and yeah, thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks very much, everybody.
Yep. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. We'll look forward to you joining us next time. Take care.
Bye for now.